What's happening, YouTube? You in here with two parts of the Avengers of Life games, Black Avengers of Life games. Me and Larry. Larry, what's up, brother?
Oh man, everything's just trying to make it through another day in this crazy world where we have a Confederate president.
Definitely. So I guess you seen some of that bulljive he was talking about on a day when NASCAR relinquishes their grips of Confederacy. The president is coming out saying he ain't going to rename no federal buildings. What you think, brother?
Yeah, that's just, here's the thing, right? This is the thing that's so offensive to me about this. And one of the thing is they're talking about renaming military bases that are named after Confederate officers, Confederate generals, Confederate officers. And the idea that he's saying we're not going to rename them is so offensive because you're talking about naming military bases after traitors, after people who literally, not figuratively, not metaphorically, but literally took up arms against our country. And you're saying that you are not going to rename bases that are named after those traitors. That is just so offensive. And it just really harkens to this whole thing with white supremacy and their inability or unwillingness to let go of the past and try to still hold on to the Confederacy and their white supremacy and their desire to return to slavery. That all of that, it speaks to all of that. And
well, Larry, if you was in power, if you was the person in the position of power, why would you give it up?
Because sometimes you give people a little kernel of something to get a whole lot more.
They don't see it like that.
That's because they're not smart individuals.
They're not, and we've talked about this before. Right now, all they can see is their butt crack when they bend over. They're not looking down the road when they bend over. They're just looking at their own butt crack. You don't see how, for them, the only thing they can see is any advancement you make infringes upon my advancements. Any way I help you have equality or make you feel better, it hinders me from getting the same things out of life, which in the Constitution in this country is supposed to have been built on equality for every man and all that. Except for the fact that they forgot to talk about how in all things, racism can be equivalated to the way this country was built, period.
See, here's the thing is that this goes back to the whole carrot and the stick thing. It's like you offer them a way to peacefully take down these monuments and rename stuff peacefully. Like there was talk about, let's take all these Confederate statues down and you can move them to, I don't know, maybe a Confederate museum or something where they can be put into a historical learning environment, or you can move them.
Larry, I'm going to pause you right there, because we're going to talk about that within one of the subjects, because I know where you're going, and that's going to be a good one. So I'm going to pause you right there till we get to that specific subject, because what I'm going to do, if T-Streams doesn't show up, instead of me going back and forth and I take a caption, you take a caption, I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to play Lily White Lamont. Matter of fact, I'm going to change my name to Lily Lamond. And I'm going to be the white guy. You get to be the educated brother. But let's give the people a hand. What's up, everybody? Oh, man, see, Buzz already done started. Hey, Buzz, I appreciate you, baby. And anybody else that want to super chat, you ain't got to do it on the Cash App. You can do it right here. But just know that YouTube do take about 20% of that income, but we're happy to take it here. What's up, Trisha C? I promise you, you don't have to leave me and Larry. T-Stream will be coming. What's up, Tim? What's up, CB? CB, man, I'm going to just call you CB because I be getting tongue twisted trying to say all your letters. And who is this? Lynn Catsberry, are you kidding? So you want to change history, destroy monuments and statues. We all equal. Oh my God. Lord,
first of all, let me speak to Lynn Catsberg, who's obviously a not so veiled racist. Because how otherwise do you try and defend the Confederacy. First of all, Lynn, I'm just going to call it straight out. You cannot be a patriot. You are not a patriot, and you cannot be a patriot if you are trying to support and honor the men and women that took up arms against this country. Mm-hmm. So that's what it comes down to. You do not see other. Do you? Let me see. Do you go to Vietnam and do you see the Vietnamese putting statues of American soldiers up or French soldiers up, or anybody else that took up arms against them? No. Do you go to Afghanistan? Do you go to Germany and see the statues of the people that took up arms against them? No. So, I mean, here's the thing. You can talk about all the bullshittery you want about history. No one's trying to erase history. No one is saying that you don't teach about the Civil War and the Confederacy in history class. No one's saying that. What we are saying is you don't honor them. They are not worthy of honor in this country. They were traitors to our nation. If you can't see that, then there's nothing to explain to you. And you can't claim to be a patriot if you are going to sit up there and honor and defend wanting to honor traitors to our nation, period.
And Lynn, I'm going to assume that maybe you came here, maybe you're trying to get woke, or maybe you're trying to get a better understanding.
That person came here trying to start some bullshit. Yeah. That's what they did. They came in here dropping that crap because they wanted to start some bullshit. It's not about erasing history. Removing Confederate statues are not erasing history. Removing Confederate statues means you are not honoring traitors. That's what it means.
But you know what?
Teach it.
But you know what, Larry? You want me to give her a true definition of erasing history? Why is it not in the history books just how bad the black slaves got treated? Why is it really not in the history book that Thomas Jefferson, one of the founders of this country, had a child with a black woman that was 14 and he sent her ass across seas because he didn't want that scourge to remain in America? Right. Why do we not talk about how this country got 250 years of free labor from African Americans and built the wealth of this nation? Why do we always gloss over the fact that Anglo-Saxons came here, stole the country from two groups of people? Number one, England, that sent them here, that said, go there, explore it, bring us back the booty. England came here and we got into a fight with them because they said, oh no, we got here and this is too good. Not to mention we slaughtered the natives that are here. Now, do you see?
They don't want to talk about that history because all they want to talk about is white history.
Okay, so
they don't want to talk about the history they want to talk about.
Okay, I don't honestly. I'm not thinking Lynn is trying to start trouble, Larry, because she is being
bullshit she's putting up. Talk about they just removed Gone with the Wind. No, I've been with you for years. Gone with the Wind is not history. Gone with the Wind is a motherfucking feature film. It is a movie. It is not history. And there's all kinds of movies that as time goes on, that things that were relevant at one time are no longer relevant or now considered offensive. Just like if you go watch some of these stand-up comedy shows from back in the 80s, where people use the F word as far as calling as a derogatory term towards homosexuals, and they made all kinds of gay jokes. They made all kinds of sexist jokes. They joked about rape and all that stuff. Guess what? You don't see those stand-ups in rotation anymore. Sometimes you can't even find them streaming online anymore because they are no longer considered kosher. That's why they're inappropriate for the time, and people remove them as a consequence. It is called progression. It is called evolution. For people like you who want to be stuck in the Confederacy, that is where you need to take yourself, go back under your Confederate rock and stay there, because the rest of the country is moving forward and not looking back. And what it is you have all you white people out there who are so deathly afraid that you're losing your grip on power, because you know that that you're going to be a minority majority in the next few years because your kids are too busy killing themselves off and taking drugs and overdosing instead of just being happy. I mean, white males are running around overdosing on opiates at an epidemic rate. I mean, what do they have to be upset about? They're in what you guys call is the best country in the world, and they are a white male, so they are the most privileged class in all of human history, and they still can't be happy. There is no happiness for you guys. None. If you cannot be happy as a white male in America, there is no happiness for you. Period. Maybe what you just need to do is stop worrying about us and black people and brown people and Asian people. Maybe you need to go find some God. Maybe you need to go find some Allah. Maybe you need to go find some Buddha. Go find something, because whatever it is you're searching for in your white supremacist, Odin's not given to you.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was an opening salvo that I didn't even think we was going to get into this early in the video. But y'all know that we keep it raw, we bring the fire, and we try to educate. Today, we are going to be covering the NASCAR and the Confederate flag and them taking it down. I consider that a very tiny, and when I say tiny, I mean tiny win, very tiny. We'll take it though, but it's just a small move when you still have a president up here talking about he's not going to change the name of military bases from Confederate leaders. We've also going to do the video.
No, I'm sorry, Lamont. I'm a little bit on tonight. Lynn's starting on this bullshit talking about love one another. How about this, Lynn? You're a woman. So how about this? How about if at your building, in your office, wherever, at your town center, they put up a statue of a prolific rapist and had a statue of a guy beating the smack out of a woman while he's raping her? Would you like to see that? Would you like to see that as you drive past it every day on your way to work? Would you like to see that bullshit? No, you would not. And that is how motherfucking offensive it is when we have to go and drive down the street and see Robert E. Lee High School, or we have to go see some Confederate statue, or drive by and see generals of the Confederacy named after military bases. That is the bullshit we have to deal with on a daily basis. So you talk about let's love one another. How about you practice that shit? You practice loving us so that we can go ahead and live peacefully. Because black people have not shown you anything but love for the last 400 years. Why don't you practice what you preach? If you want to love us, then how about you take down the shit that is offensive? How about you take down the stuff that is offensive to me as a black person, and is offensive to me as a military veteran in this country, and as offensive to me as an American patriot? I don't want to see the names of traitors on my military bases, in statues in my cities, in my town halls. I don't want to see that shit. You want to talk about love? You start practicing it. Until then, shut the fuck up.
Basically, Lynn, what he's saying, I'm going to say in a more calm manner today because I'm in a good mood today. Y'all, I'm not on my muscle gains today, y'all. So I'm in a very calm, cool, collective mood. This could be a very interesting show. Because when Larry go on his rant, I'm going to be the Michelle Obama that comes in behind him and be cool. Lynn,
I'm not going high. I'm not going high. If you,
I didn't
tell you what,
that.
You go low, I'm going to kick you in the teeth. How about that? When you go low, I'm going down there to kick you in your teeth. How about that?
Yeah.
How about that?
Somebody in the comment section already done said what I was going to say to Lynn. Lynn, when you say what you just said about love each other and all this other stuff, it is as if you're deflecting from the point to buffer your position, to present your position, which we're all saying is, I don't know if you're white or not, but you're defending the position
she's
of
white because
privilege.
She can't even smell African. She's up there talking about, I grew up with Afghan Americans. She can't even spell Africans, and then she wants to try and be disrespectful on top of that and put her misspelled African in lowercase. That's not on accident. Because she's sure as hell capitalized American. That shit is not accident. People don't get it twisted. We recognize all of your little subtle bullshittery. It's not even, you think that you're doing something slick. You think you're doing something cute because oftentimes we don't call you out on your bullshit because as black people, we have so much other shit we have to deal with on a daily basis. We just generally don't want to take the time out to deal with all of your little small shit, but don't think we don't fucking see it. Don't think we don't recognize what it is. We just don't feel like dealing with your ignorance on a minute by minute basis.
So, Lynn, what he's saying is sometimes
that's what I'm saying. Be out.
What he's saying is
I'll bring one of my viewers over to replace you. Be out.
When we as African Americans, being a minority, are the only speck in a group, sometimes we can't be trying to deal with all y'all stuff. And when we try to tell you what our problem is and you don't listen and you pivot and deflect the way you're doing in this thread, that's why you get people who get upset. That's why you get people who decide, okay, you're not listening to me. I told you what the problem is, and it's simple to fix it, but you're not trying to fix it. And so we're going to stop right there, and we're going to get into the show. Larry, while you're hot, while you're on fire, first story I got for you. I'm gonna give him to you because he ain't my boy. I can't let him be my boy today. So I'm gonna give him to you. We've got Terry Crews being accused of cooning on Twitter. Take a listen to this.
How did none of y'all tell me what Terry Crews was over on Twitter doing last night? Now, of course, you know, I will address the coonery of our boy Terry, but I think it's worth noting that when we see these types of behaviors from Black folks, oftentimes what they're speaking of as like fact is really just the result of a personal response to not having had acceptance by a certain Black community. And that could be their family, that could be their parents, that could be their, you know, their neighborhood, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so there's a certain level of compassion that I think we all reserve when we see that and we say, damn, like, who hurt you? But I think the other thing is that we also have to acknowledge that in that compassion and in that awareness for other people's feelings, we also have to acknowledge that people's feelings can also cause them to do things that can harm others. Cool. And so when we see someone like Terry Crews, you know, people with platforms speaking in this fashion against a movement, speaking in a fashion that creates a divisiveness due to lack of just knowledge and history, though it is a response to their feelings, which might be true, because of their position, their response can be weaponized to undermine the bigger picture. And therefore, they have to be addressed directly. Because they're not just speaking, you know, in casual spaces. They're making declarations. And they have a certain set of power. And when you have a certain set of power, you have to have a certain responsibility for where your voice can go. And even though you have your own personal traumas, that cannot be the trigger that's used to fire at the movement that you're actually a part of by nature of simply being a Black man. The fuck these white people keep kneeling for? Y'all were shitting on Kaepernick doing all the kneeling. Now y'all kneeling now? What are all these performative shows that nobody needs a kneel? We need legislation. Hello? Hire some folks at your job that don't look just like you.
So, Larry, before I give the floor to you first, somebody gave me a request to give this to you before we go forward.
Yeah, go ahead and burn all that.
My king, we cannot do that. It is our tradition.
When I tell you to do something, I mean that shit. Burn it all!
That's all for you, Larry. I'm going to give it to you first. What are your thoughts on Terry Crews' comments? Do you feel like he was cooning, shucking and jiving? Give us your general synopsis of Terry Crews and his Twitter comments.
I mean, of course he was cooning. That was just some straight up BS. I mean, I don't even know how to articulate how the level of ridiculous and coonery that was. That was just, I mean, for real. I mean, you have a platform and that's what you decide to use it for. How about just say nothing? Just be quiet. I mean, for real. I mean, there's no space for that right here. There's no space for that in this time frame, in this moment. I mean, in the times of revolution, what they say is you line everybody up and you ask them who's willing to fight and let everybody raise their hands. And those that don't, those are the first ones that get shot. Those ones are the first casualties of that revolution. But you can't, because you can't have those people. You can't have those people around. They're damaging. They're damaging. People like him and Candace Owen. They need to go. You need to starve them out of their profession. You need to starve them out of their platform. I mean, you can't either you get with the program or black folks need to make sure that they can't work. Sure, maybe Terry Crews can go flex his little pec muscles and make them dance for the white women, but black folks need to make sure they don't ever work with him again. They need to, if you can't get with the program, then you need to be starved out so that you can't have a platform, period. And because you're dangerous. You're dangerous with all that.
This is another thing that African Americans have had to deal with since the inception of us being brought here. If we feel that the things put in place by the powers that be, the Anglo-Saxons, that we don't want to agree with it, but we do anyway, that is one form of cooning, especially if it belittles or puts down the other people in your race. Let me give you a textbook term for cooning. Yes, there is a textbook term. Someone who appeases the master or the person in charge and puts down the people that are afflicted among their race in order to elevate themselves with a sense of presence and power among the person that is in power or their master. That's your textbook definition. And if Terry Crews ain't just do that, I don't know what he did. Now, when you do have a platform such as what he has, and we're going through this moment we're going through, and no matter what he says, no matter what Candace Owens says, they have dealt with issues of being black in this country. And they've compartmentalized it for the sake of these people that appease them and make them feel better. But to just summarily say that because we're calling you out that we're supremacists, nah, bruh, cancel culture. Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's the thing that gets me. There's a difference between people that disagree with how things should go versus disagreeing and siding with the other side. There's just, you cannot deal, like you and I sometimes have disagreements on stuff.
Yeah,
we can disagree on policy. We can disagree on process. We can say we think that we can both agree that black people should not be oppressed and subjugated, and we can disagree on how we get away from the oppression and the subjugation. But that's the difference but we still agree on the core of what should be. When you start talking about black supremacy bullshit that he's talking and we can't do it without other people. We can do it with we would want to do it with a coalition.
Mm-hmm.
Alone, we can do it alone. We don't want to. It is better for everyone in this country if we do it as a coalition. But if we have to go it alone, then we will go it alone. And that's not going to lead to black supremacy or anything else. That shit is just, it's asinine. It is straight. I mean, that is just some straight up just Sambo bullshit. That is not, I just want to give you guys another thing. For anybody who runs around calling people Uncle Toms, I just want to tell you, go read the book. Uncle Tom is not the one that should be, that term is used as a derogatory term, should not be for Uncle Tom. It should be reserved for Sambo. And those dudes out there like Terry Crews chucking and jiving, bouncing his little titties all over the place for them chicks, you're a Sambo.
Now,
I used to be a fan.
Larry, when he said black supremacy, isn't he echoing what a lot of white dudes are afraid is going to happen? To me, that's what.
Of course he is. He's playing into their fears. He's playing into their fears so they can take his little clip and they can put it all over their racist right-wing social media websites and forums and say, look, see, this is what's going to happen if black people get in power. It's going to be black supremacy. They're going to oppress us. They're going to do the same stuff to us that they feel has been done to them for the last how many ever years. We might end up in slavery. They're going to take that and run with it. They use people like him and that female Sambo Candace Owens to go out there and spew their white supremacist propaganda, and then they sit up there and say, look, it's valid, it's legit. This black person is saying it. No, it's not legit. It's not. It does not matter if Candace Owens or Terry Crews or Trump's little whatever those two black chicks were that are always down there bucking their teeth behind him at his rallies.
They got fired. They got fired. Fox News fired him.
Right. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's any one of those straight up just cooning ass individuals. It does not mean what they're saying represents us as a community. There's always been outliers. There's always been people that are willing to sell out their people for what they view as some level of safety or security or prosperity.
Mm-hmm. So with that, we're going to leave Terry Crews and we're going to go to someone who stood up for his rights in a more antagonistic situation than what Terry Crews was in. And I'm talking about the black NASCAR driver, Bubba Wallace. Take a look at what's going on with him, and then we'll discuss what just happened today. Mm-hmm. Now, Larry, let me give you a story before I let you rip on this one. A high school classmate of mine, when I went off on the Confederate flag, like in 2012, he says to me, "Now, come on, Lamont, you used to like Dukes of Hazzard when you was a kid." I said, "Oh, you want to know what I said to him, Larry?" I said, I also like Santa Claus and I like the Easter Bunny, until I grew the fuck up and realized that stuff was not real. And then I grew up and learned what the Confederate flag meant. So no, I do not support it now. Have you evolved your thinking? We've been out of high school 20 years. Did you ever evolve your thinking? No, the hell you didn't. Larry's already gone over every reason why no one should have that flag, or that flag should be in history books and museum, as Larry already eloquently said. Larry, I'm going to give it to you, but I've got some more to add to this story. Just what do you think? I want to just highlight Bubba Wallace's courage, because he's probably 2% of blacks in NASCAR or anything. There's probably 2%. And in the face of all that, he came out and said, look, we need to get rid of them flags. He said this on Sunday. Next thing you know, NASCAR drops a press release today. Flags are being removed. They're not letting you get up in there with your flags. Floor is yours, Larry.
Yeah, I hope they keep that. I hope that it stays that way, because we know what's going to happen. People are going to start showing up to the races. They're going to start flying their flags, and just they're going to do it at a protest and sit up there and try and say, "Oh, this is America. We have freedom of speech." Well, people need to understand again, your freedom of speech does not give you the freedom to say whatever you want at a private event on private property. It gives you the right to not be persecuted by the government. That's what it means. It has nothing to do what you're allowed to do in private events or at private property. So people need to understand the difference between, freedom of speech and being able to say whatever the hell you want to when you're on somebody else's turf. So, and but I understand what's going to happen, and it's probably not going to look good. There's probably going to be some incidents where someone flies a flag. Some security guard's probably going to go over there and take it down. There's going to be a scuffle. It's going to make news. Hopefully that people just respect the respect it and just say they're not allowed and they just don't bring them anymore, But I'm sure somebody's going to do it. There's probably going to be an issue with some race car driver who's going to put a Confederate sticker on his car, some bullshit. And then, we've seen this. We've seen how this game is played. We know how it's going to turn out. I just hope to God that the people in charge of NASCAR are firm with this and just simply, if some team driver shows up with a Confederate flag sticker on his car, on his helmet, or some other BS, I hope they just put his ass up out and just say you're not racing today. In fact, you're suspended.
And I hope they give my man Bubba Wallace a whole hell of a lot more security because his ass just might need it. Now, take a look at this, Larry. This is what I was saying me, you, and T-Stream was going to go back and forth on. Of course, under that video of Bubba Wallace saying what he said, there was these kind of comments. Let's take a look at this one. So someone was basically trying to compare the Black Lives Matters movement to the Confederate flag. Larry, help me out here, Larry. Help me out here, Larry, because I swear, are these people really that ignorant? I tease my wife all the time. I was like, honey, some of these ignorant fools you see on social media are the lineage of their ignorant ass ancestors that had the nerve to be slave masters trying to run shit. Larry, is this person trolling, or does he really know what he's talking about? He's just upset.
No, he's trolling. Whether he understands why he's saying what he's saying, or he's just repeating what somebody else said, it doesn't really matter. He's still just trolling. I mean, the whole idea of trying to compare someone wearing a Black Lives Matter T-shirt to someone flying the Confederate flag, it's just a ridiculous false equivalency. It's so utterly ridiculous it almost doesn't even warrant,
That's what I'm saying.
Discussion. It's utterly ridiculous.
It's like, why waste time? Why you waste your time when you're an intelligent person trying to have this discussion with someone?
But let me do explain this, is that oftentimes when you have these white folks out there like that talk about the Confederacy and these Confederate flags and these Confederate monuments, that and they look at people that are wearing Black Lives Matter shirts or whatever sort of positive messages that Black people put out there about themselves and trying to express to people our lives have meaning and matter. What they are doing is really saying is, look, our monuments, our icons are about oppression. They are about subjugation and oppression of other people. So they are basically saying we cannot conceive how your monuments and your totems or whatever, your messages, your ideals that are supportive of your race are not oppressive but supportive. And so they can't conceive it because their stuff is all about oppression. That's all that they know. At all costs, Larry, at all costs, because they'll be quick to tell you that the Civil War was never about slavery. It was about states' rights. And I echo states' rights to do what? Yeah, to own slaves. They don't even, the whole thing has gone, that whole thing that's led to states' rights has been so, they started off with just blatant racism and talking about all that other stuff. And then they slowly over time evolve into this argument of states' rights. So it comes to the racism becomes so vague in language that they can try and make these arguments that get away from their racism when their racism is right there, just right at the surface. It's just thinly layered under the guise of states' rights. It's all BS, and we know it. Or nationalism, or don't dread on me. That's another one of those flags that those type of people wear. Or the POW flag. They drape themselves all up in that equality shit, but they don't really want that. I mean, just wear the flag. And then the other one that made me mad about the flag is how they love the flags, right? Don't disrespect the flag and all that. They disrespect the flag every time they fly a Confederate flag. Have you been to a NASCAR race ever in your life? I have. Me too. Do you see how many women is out there in bikinis with flags on their breasts, flags all in their butt crack? Ain't nobody talking about no disrespect then. because there are actual laws on the books about how the flag is to be displayed, and you are not supposed to wear it as a bikini or a t-shirt or short pants. You're not even supposed to have it as a handkerchief. You see people with bandanas that are, you're not supposed to have it as any of that stuff. I mean, let's just be real. If you want to talk about respecting the flag, then respect the flag. But if you're also talking about respecting the flag, don't dishonor and disrespect the flag in the country by flying the flag of of traitors that seceded from our union and had to be put down violently, cost more American lives than any other war because they wanted to leave and start a war with us. So don't sit up there and fly those flags and talk about you need to be respectful of the American flag. Don't go around flying the Nazi flag and talk about the American flag. We had hundreds of thousands of young boys that had to go over there and fight those damn Nazis. So don't go fly the flags of our enemies that we defeated. I mean, these are two nations that no longer exist because we defeated them. So don't go now fly their flags and then at the same time try and profess your patriotism to this nation. You cannot be a patriot and fly the flag of a former enemy, of a demolished, a no longer existent country because you liked what they stood for. You like what we fought against. You cannot claim to be a patriot.
So, and let me, and to further add to Larry's great point, Larry, you know who the KKK is, don't you?
I'm not sure they even know who they are anymore. Those lost souls. They need to just go find Jesus or something.
Yes,
I know who they are.
When they used to burn down houses and when they have their rallies now, what flags do you see posted with them?
Right. They were always flying the Confederate flag.
Confederate flag. Okay. Black Lives Matter. Have you seen anyone hung at a stake and burned due to Black Lives Matters?
No. And that's the thing. That's the thing. See, this is the thing. When people talk about this, is the thing that and this is one of those differences. When black people talk about black power, they're not talking about oppressing white people or Asians or Hispanics or anybody else. They are talking about uplifting black folks. When they talk about black power, they're talking about black people getting educated, black people voting, black people getting, starting businesses and increasing their economic power. They're talking about empowering. They're talking about empowering black people. White power is about oppression.
Larry, they won't tell us, but that's the problem for white people. Because if you better yourself as an African American and equality is met, if Joe the white guy shows up beside Lamont Tyson the black guy and our qualifications are the same and you get rid of systemic racism, he is less likely to get the job and I am just about as likely to get the job as he is. Whereas right now, if we show up, who's more likely to get the job, Larry? With the system we've got in place right now, he is.
Of course.
So for them, getting equality, having black people better educate themselves and do things to uplift themselves, for a lot of them equals you're taking opportunities from me. Simple as that. That's their fear. And if that's not the fear, then why the hell are some of y'all fighting so hard not to see these measures get put in place for equality for black people?
Right.
So we'll move on to the next one. And this is the last political racist thing we're going to do today because this was just so ugly and vile. I'll give it to you first, Larry, after we see this video. This is just pure T nuts. And I'll tell you what happened to the guy in the video. By the way, subscribe. Check me out. Subscribe to Larry. Super chat. Let's go. The gentleman that had his knee on somebody's neck, and I'm just going to call them both fools, he worked for a police department. He's been outed and he's been placed on leave And the last thing I read up was he's getting fired tomorrow. Larry, they say there's no racism in America. What the hell was that?
Yeah, I mean that's just clearly. Go ahead.
Let me give you one more too, Larry. They always complain that when black people fuss about the politics of Republicans and we call some of them racist, that we're just dead wrong. Larry, whose flag was back there underneath the American flag?
Right. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, anybody who says that Donald Trump is not out there supporting these racists and they're not out there supporting him, every time you go, you and see one of these, performances that they put on, where you see them out there in their protests and they're running around in their little toy soldier outfits with their guns and their body armor and their flying flags. You'll see the three flags often together. You'll see the Confederate flag.
Don't dread on me.
Yeah, you'll see that sometimes. You'll see the Confederate flag, you'll see the Nazi flag, and you'll see the Trump flag.
Yep, you'll see the Trump flag.
You'll see
you'll see the POW flag too.
And I don't want to throw the POW flag in there, because there are a lot of POWs that are minorities. I know white people like to not just white people, but a lot of the right-wing people like to appropriate these symbols and use them for their own racist means. But I'm going to leave that one alone for the moment, because I think
I'm not saying I want to get rid of the flag. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying when you see that group of people like we just seen right there,
right,
those are the flags they like to drape themselves in. I'm not saying get rid of the POW flag, because nobody's not saying that black people don't have patriotism. It just makes it hard when you're dealing with these ignoramuses you just seen right here. And Larry, can you imagine if they were slowly taking that parade through the hood and this was some white cause and Susie Lily white girl being killed and black people had their knee out on the front porch on her neck?
Right. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, right, is that we all know they're full of crap. That officer, this is the thing. When you think about someone like that has those sorts of feelings and opinions and expresses publicly that level of racism. And this is the thing.
G.I. Joe.
Right, but here's the thing. For someone to express that level of racism openly in public means the amount that he truly holds in his heart, it has to be 100-fold. And as a police officer, his willingness to do that, it means what he's holding inside is 100-fold. So as a black person, as a brown person, if you ever have to encounter him while he's on the job, you cannot expect that your constitutional rights are going to be, respected. You can't expect that you're going to get a fair shake from him. No, what you can expect is that your constitutional rights are going to be violated. And the chances are what he's showing as him standing on someone's neck is likely to has happened on the job, or he's shot and hurt people or killed people on the job, because he is biased. He's a racist. And you can't put that aside. You can't just say, okay, I'm clocking into work for the next 9 hours. I'm not going to be a racist for the next 9 hours. Oh, okay, I'm off work. I'm going to go ahead and put my racist shirt back on. No, you're a racist all day, every day.
Yeah, I was going to say, you say just on the job. Can you imagine what his interactions are like with blacks or Mexicans or anyone in public? Like, he could be grocery shopping, and instead of being courteous, he just do something that is just dead ass wrong. Cut you off while he's driving, slam the door in your face, and then try to make it seem like it was just a coincidence.
And here's the other thing: if you see those signs, you see they have that sign that says "All Lives Matter." I mean, that whole thing is just so dismissive. But I saw a really funny tweet or Instagram someone posted, and it said you can't tell me all lives matter when just 3 weeks ago you were protesting, talking about let grandma die so that we can save our economy. I mean, you can't say all lives matter when you're so willing to throw other people's lives to the wind so that you can sit up there and go get drunk at your local bar or so that you can get your little crusty bunions shaved off and your nails painted and your hair done. You can't say that all lives matter when you're willing to sacrifice all kinds of lives so that you can have a little bit of economic prosperity.
And
no.
And not only was it them saying that, but politicians, the guy, what was it, Gregory Abbott, one of them in Texas came out and said that. Lieutenant Governor of Texas came out and paraphrasing said, we might as well just let Granny go. They've lived their life, blah, 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 and in order to get the economy going. And then yet you don't understand why not only have you disenfranchised African Americans, but people who are in poverty, you've disenfranchised them too. Right. And now everybody is coming together.
And this is the thing that I hope old people, regardless of their political, leanings, I hope they remember that those things were said and those were the attitudes of the right wing and the Republicans, because the single largest voting bloc in this country are the elderly. They are the largest voting bloc in this country. They are the most active voters. They vote in every election. They don't vote just in presidential elections like a lot of people do. They show up to those local elections where they're voting on school bonds and city council members and school board members. They show up and vote for everything. And I hope they remember that. I hope they remember how the Republicans thought of them and how they treated them and how they were so willing to throw their lives away so that they can have their bars and their barbershops and their hair salons open.
And their tanning booths. Hell, they, instead of throwing them under the bus, they threw them under hell. They were just saying, get the fuck out of here, man, and go straight down there and burn so that we can get this money rolling again. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude the heavier subjects, the current trending event subjects. It's movie time now, and we've got a trailer to review, something me and Larry both seen when we was young. This is going to be the third iteration of this movie. Larry, what am I talking about?
Oh, man, this sounds like it's going to be Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted, Excellent Adventure. Let's get it.
25 years ago, you played a concert in front of the entire world. 1 month ago, you played in Barstow, California for 40 people, most of whom were there for $2 taco night. Bill and Ted, what have you got to say for yourselves?
Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes.
You were supposed to unite the world and save reality as we know it.
Bill, we've spent our whole life trying to write the song that will unite the world. Why can't we just go to the future when we have written it?
Whoa! Take it from ourselves!
But isn't that stealing?
How is that stealing if we're stealing it from ourselves, dude?
No way!
How'd you like our song?
It's a little on the dark side, but that's cool.
Man, Larry, are you going to go see this one?
Yeah, I'm going to go see that one. I'm looking forward to that. I like Bill and Ted growing up. It's funny is that they went to San Dimas High, which was right next door to, my high school, and actually I lived in San Dimas for a while. My dad had a house in San Dimas. So, yeah. So I've always been a big Bill and Ted fan. I'm going to watch it.
And I told you, I watched the cartoon. I was singing the song. My grandma's like, boy, would you stop singing that song? Because they had a great cartoon in the 80s, ladies and gentlemen. I would be running around there singing Bill and Ted Excellent Adventures, the song. The melody, I still have it in my head right now. And I can't sing. If you put 3 handles on my back and pin me to the wall, I can't hold a note. And I was just singing and singing and singing. And I'm sad to say this, Larry, but that trailer didn't do nothing for me.
Yeah, that wasn't the best trailer, but I'm hoping that because I'll tell you, some of the movies that I've seen recently, like the trailer has been all the best parts of that movie, or I was like, I could have just skipped the movie and just watched the trailer and been done with it. So I'm hoping that maybe all the good parts are coming in there later, you know. So we'll see. I'm gonna watch either way. So hopefully it's good. If it's not, then I'll just chalk it up as a, you know, an hour and a half of nostalgia. You know.
Hey man, now look, I'm gonna warn you, there can be bad nostalgia. I went to the very last Power Rangers movie, and it effed up my life permanently. I'm gonna just leave it at that. Go at your own risk, but I'm gonna just say, nostalgia can ruin your butt, bro. I'm just gonna warn you. Now, Larry, it's Marvel time. We got 2 Marvel clips. So I've got something dealing with Hulk versus Wolverine, and I've got something dealing with Guardians of the Galaxy and Nebula. If you're finding us for the first time, please subscribe. Subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Larry's channel, follow us on the gram. Which one you want to see first, Larry? The Nebula story or the Hulk story?
Let's see. Well, yeah, before I think I want to see the Nebula story, but before we check out the Nebula story, I think what we should probably recognize is that Killmonger is the true hero of Wakanda and liberator to the oppressed people of the world. So there you go. Wakanda for life. Killmonger, baby.
Yeah, go ahead and burn all that.
My king, we cannot do that. It is our tradition.
When I tell you to do something, I mean that shit. Burn it all!
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I give you the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 update.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 star Karen Gillan says Nebula is starting to rebuild her life after the death of her abusive adopted father Thanos in Avengers Endgame. We know that through time travel, she was then reunited with the 2014 version of her adopted sister and former rival Gamora, who was killed by Thanos in 2018 when the Mad Titan sacrificed his quote-unquote favorite daughter to obtain the Soul Stone in Avengers Infinity War, which also happened to be Nebula's first encounter and team up with Earth's mightiest heroes in their attempt to prevent galaxy-wide genocide. But during a panel at GalaxyCon Live, she explained how she saw her character, saying, "I was able to use a lot of psychology essays on that character, because she's someone who's dealt with a lot of abuse from her father from such a young age. Not to make it too heavy, but when he pitted the siblings against each other, she would be inferior and the scapegoat, while the other one was the golden child. It's actually quite a common thing to happen within families and siblings. However, I don't have any siblings, so it's something I really had to read up on." She then said she admires Nebula for her ability to slightly move past that a little bit. In Avengers, she had to face the source of her abuse, then actually watch him get eliminated from her life. I'm sort of thinking about future Nebula in the sense like, what is she gonna be like now that that person's abuse has gone out of her life? How is she gonna build herself back up again? Because it's an odd feeling. I think for someone who's been abused by a parent because they still love them, and they're sad that they're gone, but also at the same time hate them, and they're glad that they're gone. Nebula has just had a really hard time, leaving Gillan feeling sympathy and empathy towards her character. Finally, Gillan added, "I'm interested to maybe try to take her to a place now where she's starting to rebuild her life." And this last sentence is actually really interesting and good news for any Nebula fans out there. She wants to rebuild her character's life, whether that be through a relationship with her sister Gamora or on missions with the Guardians. But whatever the case may be, you can be assured that they're not going to kill her off anytime soon.
Larry, this is going to sound like I'm anti-Marvel. And when you know, I drape myself in Marvel, usually. I drape my body in Marvel. I didn't learn nothing from Karen Gillan. I learned nothing. I already knew they weren't going to get rid of the character. I know she's in a long-term contract. I learned nothing new, and I can't take back those 2 minutes. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like some of the most popular characters within the MCU, they're going to be around, and so I know people speculate that some people are going to get taken out, whatever, but most likely, either the characters are going to be around in one iteration or another. They might lose the actual person that's playing them, but I think we'll see a lot of the characters come back. I mean.
Do you like Nebula? First of all,
I mean, she's all right. She was cool, but I feel like they never let us really know her enough. They gave us a little taste of who she was, but they never, like, Nebula's one of those people. I think I wouldn't want to see her with her own movie, but she might be good for like a TV show. And it may not even be like a full, trying to do multi-season. It might just be good for like a mini series. You know, just like an 8-episode run on HBO or something might be good.
Because at this point, her issue with her sister kind of feels resolved because
Thanos
her
is dead.
Well, Thanos is dead, but her sister is missing too.
Yeah.
So there's nothing else she's got to resolve. Hey man.
I mean, we know that death does not resolve everything for people. You can have all kinds of unresolved feelings after people die. We know that's fine, but you know.
But what I'm saying
we're talking about
the conflict with her and her sister is no longer there. So what is it that's making her tick now? Her daddy's dead. Her sister is gone because of the Infinity Stones. Right. What is the basis for what's driving her to do what she's going to do in the MCU is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I guess when I think about her, when I think about Nebula and I think about all that, I guess what I'm really thinking is, let's move on and talk about Hulk.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Marvel time again. If you're finding me and Larry for the first time, please subscribe to the channel, subscribe to his, follow us on Instagram, super chat if you want to right now live while we're going. And we've got a bit of Marvel news. Mark Ruffalo, Mr. I can't keep my damn mouth shut when they tell me something, had a conversation with Kevin Feige and discussed what he thinks should be the proper Hulk movie. Take a look at this, my man Larry. You know, this one right here really makes us have those geekgasms.
Ruffalo has already stated publicly in front of audiences and in interviews that he would like a couple of things to come from the Hulk. And one is his idea of what could be a very good Hulk film. And that is a movie about what he calls Bulk, Bruce Banner and the Hulk combined. This is Professor Hulk that we saw in Avengers Endgame. Mark Ruffalo was recently on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon where he said that he pitched and is still pitching this movie about Bulk.
That's what I'm pitching, actually. That section of time, like, how did Banner become the Bulk? You know? Bulk. How did he become the Bulk?
So as you can see, Mark Ruffalo clearly wants the next Hulk film to be about Bulk. But this isn't the first time that he has mentioned this. He's actually mentioned this 3 times before at interviews and at Comic-Con panels. Now we were actually supposed to get a lot more of how Bruce Banner and the Hulk combined to make Bulk in Avengers Endgame, but that was cut out of the movie. But according to Mark Ruffalo, he wants a movie that shows all of that and then what Hulk would do after he became Bulk and after Avengers Endgame. He also said that he would be interested in a Hulk versus Wolverine film. Now, we've had reports about this before. Mikey Sutton in the past has mentioned that Marvel Studios is talking about a Hulk versus Wolverine film, especially considering the fact that Marvel can't actually do a solo Hulk film given the rights to the Hulk. They have to use the Hulk in a movie that involves other heroes. And again, Mark Ruffalo 3 times has expressed his interest in doing a Wolverine versus Hulk film. At Tokyo Comic-Con, he mentioned that he was speaking with Kevin Feige about the future of the Hulk. He said that he was meeting with Kevin Feige about ideas for the Hulk's future. And then he said, Hulk versus Wolverine. I'd like to see that. And he went on to say, I think that would be a really great combo.
Now, I don't know who Mikey Sutton is that keep dropping all of these leaks, but I certainly hope he's got Secret Service watching his house. Because, man, he leakier than everything in Atlanta. He dropping leaks left and right. And some of his leaks have come to be true. How do you feel about the MCU in a couple of years doing a solo Wolverine movie, but sprinkling in the Hulk to fit in the regards of their rights?
Man, I mean, that would be cool. I'll tell you who I would like to see. What is the chick's name? What's the X-Men's name? The chick that wears the gloves so that when she touches people, she takes their powers again. Her name?
That's Rogue.
Rogue, right? I'm escape my mind right now. On the tip of my tongue. I would like to see a Rogue versus Hulk, where she touches the Hulk and then absorbs his power, and now you have a She-Hulk that's fighting the Hulk.
I think somewhere in the comics she tried to do that, and it almost killed her.
Really?
Yeah. No. I mean, the way they've written him in the comics. Anytime someone tries to take his powers, you've got to be some infinite being in order to do that. Most of the time when you try to take his powers, you can't control it, you can't contain it. It's like it's one with him. But as much as I like the cartoon came out a couple years ago. It was Hulk versus Wolverine, Hulk versus Thor.
Okay.
I liked Hulk versus Thor better because, in all honesty, Hulk versus Wolverine is not really a match. So for me, it would come down to, okay, these two are going to team up in the movie at some point in time. That's a given. Right. So they're going to have a little skirmish. He's going to claw him up. Hulk is going to beat his brains out, break the adamantium, all that. Who is going to be their adversary? So now if they do something where it's going to be Hulk and Wolverine, adversaries could be like Omega Red and Sabretooth, I could go for that. But to just make the headline Hulk versus Wolverine, Kevin Feige's already said he has no interest in going down the road of stories he's already done. He's already seen that story, but he just hasn't seen that same story with a different set of villains. So I don't know.
What about Hulk versus Jean Grey? Because she might be able to absorb all that gamma.
No, you mean Jean Grey with the Phoenix Force or Jean Grey without the Phoenix Force?
No, with it.
With the Phoenix Force?
Yeah.
That's not even a contest. She's going to beat the hell out the Hulk. That's not even, I mean, I'm just, and I love the Hulk, but I got to keep it real. Now, her power level is cosmic.
Right.
And that wouldn't even be a fun fight.
Well, maybe without it then. Maybe without it.
Then you might have something there because people who've tried to tap into the Hulk's mind haven't been successfully able to really harness his mind for a long period of time.
Right.
So, all I can say is just give us more Hulk. We can't wait. We're here for all of it. I've got some good news for you in money, Larry.
All right, let's see it.
We got the money stories now. So we're going to do a Tesla story. Then I'm going to give you guys a hot stock tip. First and foremost, to all my people that listened to me and Larry when we first started doing this live way back when Rona first started, I told you guys to run out and get yourself some Tesla stock because it was like $480 at the time.
Yeah.
Some of y'all done it. Some of y'all looked at us like, what the hell are these black dudes talking about? These dudes think they cool in the game. They don't know nothing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you bought any of that Tesla stock, like I said, like me and Larry said, this is what you had to look forward to today. That stock went up to over $1,000 today. $1,000.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. If you bought that stock back when it was in the 400s, you are close to tripling your money.
That's
very
crazy.
close. $200 more, and you will be tripling your money in less than 2 months. About 2 months. About 2 months. So follow your boy. I do this homework for y'all. And now that we're on the Tesla subject, we're going to talk about what Tesla is doing with their cars. Y'all know I've got one, which is why I'm big in the company, because I drive the technology. I've actually talked to one of the engineers, and he kind of gave me some insight on future technology. And when you're putting your money in the stock market, you want to make sure that the country is always growing, evolving, escalating. We just seen not Tesla, but an escalation arm of Tesla in SpaceX take men to the space station for the first time in a private company. All the tech that was used inside that airplane is in the Model 3 and all Teslas. Take a look at one of the issues, though. If you were to buy a Tesla, this is a very small issue that they're working to fix, and I've got it on my car as well. Take a look.
Okay, so coming up to the next example, something I encounter every day, and I've shown this a few times, but I just cannot believe that it's not fixed yet. So we're stopping for the stop sign, but because of, I think, two things. There's a double stop sign here, and there's really no line painted. So you'll see this red line now. My car is going to go straight through this intersection, and oh my gosh, it stopped. It almost never actually stops here. That's like, I think the first time I've experienced that. So, wow, I'm kind of blown away. But yeah, so that was a big bug for me. A few more examples coming up here, and this is just kind of general like stoplight weirdness. The stoplight like detection works okay. I mean, on the screen it's pretty perfect, but like where to stop and stopping appropriately and stuff like that is, I would say, just okay at best, which, you know, again, I'm complaining about something really cool. But so you can see these stoplights are up like this, and you'll see my car will get confused at the last second. Bam. And so it like freaks out and kind of slams on the brakes there, and I took over. And those stoplights aren't even up yet. They're like sideways. So it's cool that it recognizes it, but you know, and those will be functioning eventually. But dealing with that all the time is pretty annoying. And then, I mean, it's been like that for weeks, so I don't know when they're gonna actually make those functioning stoplights. So here's like a good example. I mean, it's braking a tiny bit hard, but who cares? Like, it's amazing. The thing is amazing. But again, this is like my daily, I don't know, that stop sign working is like making me kind of reconsider this whole idea. So, yeah, the acceleration is like pitifully slow.
Okay. So to my Tesla detractors and my Tesla people that are really here just trying to really and truly learn about it, they did an update to the Model 3, and anyone who has a Tesla that can get the update, where now when you got the car in self-driving mode, it recognizes stop signs and stoplights, and in most cases it'll stop, and then when it's time to go, you just got to flick the stop and it'll take off. But as you've seen in the video, some of the bugs with it is it takes off very slow. That's a bug that people deal with when they're changing lanes, but it's not bad with the change lanes anymore as it is when you take off. And sometimes it doesn't even recognize a stoplight or stop sign. So what do? You just take control. Tesla is telling you that this thing is kind of in beta, it's adapting and it's learning, and apparently it works better in some places than what it does in others. So that was my man, Dirty Tesla. Check him out on YouTube. That's my family. He's in Michigan driving Teslas. Here for me, my car pretty much stops for just about all stop signs, all stop lights, but it does take off slow, which this thing is a learning process for Tesla, because every time you do those modes, it's learning how to do it better. And eventually they are working to the point where it is complete. Leave your driveway, put in your address, and it's going to take you there and drop you off. Not quite there yet, but as you can see, they're putting the systems in place. And so that's the next phase right there. And I've told you guys before, the car's starting to be an appreciating asset just because of the technology in the car with the full self-driving. And that's getting ready to go up another $1,000, which is going to make it $8,000 coming up. I think he said sometime end of this year. But, you know, that's some of the buzz going on with the latest update for the Tesla stoplight and stop sign. Just to drop you guys in. You got any questions about that, Larry?
No, I mean, that's pretty exciting. I mean, it's good to see that tech, and I hope they don't hoard it and share it and license it out to other auto manufacturers so that other cars can have it, and it can be a thing that becomes just a part of our daily lives. And I think the more information it gathers, if they do license it out, the more information it gathers from different cars and different types of vehicles of different sizes, it'll just improve the accuracy of the self-driving. And so I think it's cool. I would love to have it. I don't have a Tesla, so I'm not going to have it for a while until I get one, but it's definitely exciting tech to see.
I love that self-driving, man. I mean, it makes driving fun again. That should have been somebody's
or not
slogan.
Driving fun.
Yeah, make riding in the car fun again. I mean, it really just if you've had a long day and you're in like stop and go traffic, the car does it all for you. You just need to pay attention to make sure that it doesn't catch a quick bug. But for the most part, the car brakes properly in front of another car. It pulls up properly. It switches lane properly. It does it all for you, but you still got to pay attention. And the car forces you to pay attention because every about a minute and a half, you've got to just kind of tap the steering wheel or else it's going to take you out of self-driving mode. So when you get a chance, man, you might want to get a Tesla, or you might want to move to the next and final topic for the money section. Is this going to be the Tesla killer? This Monday, a company called Nikola Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you've got Tesla and you got a company called Nikola. They're trying to rival Tesla. And for those of you who don't know, this man that a lot of these tech dudes modeled themselves behind, his name is Nikola Tesla. Okay. And this company is specializing in making trucks. Their stock is getting ready to take off before they even drop their first car. Let me let you guys take a look of this particular stock you might want to get your hands on, because it could be the future Tesla rival. Take a look at this.
Okay, my thoughts on Nikola Motors. So NKLA, if you look at the 1 week chart, it's really crazy. Like, it was at around like $33, $34, just messing around right there. And then suddenly went all the way up to 44, went to 50. In a single day, Nikola Motors doubled its stock value, doubled the evaluation, and the stock went up 100% in a single day. June 8th was like the biggest date, simply because the reservations for the Nikola Motor Badger, which if you look at it right now, this is actually one of the coolest trucks I've ever seen. Now, if you guys like the Cybertruck, if you guys like the Rivian, which is backed by Amazon's electric car company as well, but the Badger, this thing, reservations are on. If you look at the Badger, you can see pre-orders are June 29th. Now, this is a really big deal. This is pretty much teasing investors that they are going to be delivering a product very soon. When they start reservations, electric cars like these tend to come out in 1 to 2 years, 2 years max. 3-4 years, that's a little bit too long for most people that get into reservations. So this means that Nikola Motors will be setting up their factory. They will be cranking out cars in a span of 2 years, and the stock is trying to reflect that valuation. Now, keep in mind that my thoughts on Nikola Motors is pretty good. I feel like it's a game-changing car company. It's not really a pump and dump, because even with this insane growth, the stock has actually stabilized. Now, investing in this company is really scary. Remember, when you invest in Nikola Motors, be very careful. Have the expectation that the company might fail and you might lose all your money. So be very, very careful. If you want to invest money to Nikola Motors, my thoughts are pretty much invest the money that you're willing to lose.
And this gentleman that you're seeing right here, he's the CEO. The company only has 4 employees right now. His name is Trevor Milton. What's special about him is because he's trying to be the anti-Elon Musk. He's trying to be his own brand. He's all on social media, dancing and singing and doing all this public stuff. And he is trying to rival and take Tesla head on. And as you can see, they took over 50,000 pre-orders for this truck that might not come out for 2 years. And they're doing semi-trucks, ladies and gentlemen. I used to be a truck driver, and I can tell you putting that diesel in a truck is not cool at all. These trucks are going to be all electric. And guess what, Larry? They've got some self-driving technology in them. I didn't say it's functioning self-driving technology in the trucks. And their truck, for some people, probably they look at it like it looks better than the Cybertruck. To me, it looks about as good as the Rivian, the other electric company that's doing the electric truck. But I would tell you, these type of vehicles are definitely the future. And if you've got play money, if you believe electric is going to be the future, and I'm going to give you guys a big stock tip. If Joe Biden wins this election, anything that's green, anything electric, you better start investing in it, because he's going to be about that life.
Right.
Barack Obama was about that life. Bill Clinton was about that life. These are the type of things Democrats' life is all about. Just like when we about to get a Republican in office, I always say invest in armaments, invest in anything dealing with war, invest in coal and fossil fuels. I'm telling you right now, whether Biden gets it or not, this is the future. Give Nikola a try. The only drawback is, ladies and gentlemen, the CEO and the other 4 employees, they don't get paid a salary. They're not taking a salary. So any money that they recruit is from the investments and the capital gains on the stock. So I'm hesitant to even recommend it. But for those of you that are looking to take a gamble on something that could grow to be $1,000 like Tesla is right now, in 3 years from now, this company could be $1,000 because they've got a lot of pre-orders for their truck. Their technology, to me, is right there close to Tesla, not superior, but very close. And if you're willing to take a risk right now, go get yourself some Nikola.
Yeah, I think I think for them to grow as big as Tesla, they're going to have to. I mean, the thing, I guess what I'm thinking is that Tesla is not just a car company. Tesla is a technology company, and so it's different if you're positioning yourself as an automotive company. I mean, you can still grow and be big and be very successful. Don't get me wrong, but I think Tesla's on a maybe the growth potential for Tesla just maybe bigger and greater because they are a technology company and not just an automotive company.
Yeah, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. You've seen what that stock looked like today, and Tesla hasn't even launched other properties. They still got to get that truck out there. They've got a semi truck that they're going to unveil. They still got the Roadster that's supposed to unveil. Then they're going to start selling their batteries to other people using electric vehicles. So they've got all these different streams of income coming in. Then they're going to start licensing out their self-driving technology to other people.
Right.
So if you want a rock steady product or stock, you can always buy Tesla, but I'm just not recommending you buy Tesla right now while it's at its all-time high. Tesla reached its all-time high today. Wait for it to come back down a little bit. Wait for it to come back to at least $800. Don't go chasing it right now.
Yeah, but will it? That's the question. Will it?
Well, did you see the news today about COVID-19 fools out there?
Yeah. I fully expect that the market will probably, when there's another big spike, probably in the fall, some of these things will drop. But the question is Tesla going to keep on? I mean, does Tesla just keep going up? So by the time September hits, Tesla stock is at $1,500 a share, and then it drops down to $1,000.
It could be. One of the things that's, whenever you see something, whenever people see stocks going up so fast, you always got to ask yourself, what's driving it? What's driving it? Tesla has enough cachet that one thing you don't have to worry about is this term they use called a pump and dump.
Right.
You do got to worry about pump and dump with Nikola because they're not selling anything yet. They're not selling anything. They just got all that money based on speculation. That's what it was. Tesla has proven products, and Tesla is going up right now because in Japan, they just sold so many cars in the last month because Japan is already up and running again, and they're driving their cars again. And Tesla just hit their marketplace heavy this year. Normally, Japan has been selling these little tiny, I forgot what their electric car is, but they just hit Japan and they snatching them up left and right, Larry. Just snatching them up. I'm telling you, man. Yep. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for you guys today. Don't you ever say you ain't getting no life gain in this video. We gave you life gains on racial equality. We gave you movie life gains. We gave you stock, Tesla, and driving life gains. What more can we do for you other than to ask you to be sure to go check out, where is it? ShopLifeGains.com. This is the first time I've done it the whole day. If you want to keep this movement going, go get you one of those beautiful t-shirts. It might take 6 weeks because my people that make my t-shirts, they're in and out. They're trying to do the COVID-19 thing. So it's going to be about 5 to 6 weeks on delivery, but it will get to you.
Cool.
Yeah. So, folks, without further ado, Larry, I'll give you the last word, then we up out of here, brother.
I mean, I'll just keep the last word simple. If you are a racist, eat a dick.
Oh,
that's it. I mean, if you're a racist, then fuck you. If you're one of these Confederate flag flying or one of these Confederate statue supporting, people, you're not a patriot, and fuck you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I will come behind him and say
sorry for the vulgarity.
Oh, you are. Any Anglo-Saxon watching this, I have immense respect for both of you. Black people, Anglo-Saxons, all of it. I've got friends of all persuasions. And sometimes I'm bothered by the ones that I call associates that don't get it. The ones I call friends, they get it. And when we tell you in plain English, these things are offensive to us because of its historical nature of putting their knees on our proverbial necks throughout history. Listen to us. Don't just tell us, well, it's just a flag. Well, if it was just a flag, why are you fighting to keep it?
Right.
When we tell you we have to have uncomfortable conversations with our children about the way they behave, not just around Anglo-Saxon police, but around Anglo-Saxons, we're telling you what's bothering us. We're telling you the issues with inequality that we want you guys to help us solve. Don't pivot from it. Don't give us none of this thinly veiled cloaking of, oh, it's my God, or oh, it's my country, or all lives matters. If every single house on my row is not on fire, but your house is on fire, and then I start putting out the houses that are not on fire because I'm saying all houses matter, how does that look?
Right.
The issue at hand right now is the Black lives. We're the ones that need to matter. And that's going to do it for this video. Don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe, get yourself a life game. I will drop snippets of some of what we covered in this video tomorrow and Friday until we come back live on Friday night. And until that next Sex is Hell video, we'll see you.
Peace.
Peace.